Alright, we're here for an unboxing of some idea cards. Postcards, but I call them idea cards because they provide, or can potentially provide, some good inspiration in terms of compositions and color schemes and sometimes media and techniques. A lot of these are glossy cardstock. Let's see, what do we have here? Interesting. A lot of envelopes. I don't know if they've ever sent those before. I guess they sent them for my oversized postcards for my stamp sets. We won't show those. Not terribly interesting. Those are the set inserts. Okay, let's see what we have here. I didn't get too many as far as quantities of each of these cards, but we got a few different ones. I always wait for the sales to go on these postcards. Otherwise the cost per card can be quite extreme these days. Unlike many years ago when they were like 1/20th of the price or something like that. But I get these cards in, I don't know, I order these cards whenever they go on sale, and we send them out with all orders to provide a little bit of inspiration. Okay, now as far as media and techniques go, this is by Anna Karin, formerly out of South Africa, now in Sweden. And this is a watercolor piece. And I don't know if you can tell, but even though this is a photograph right here, you can kind of tell that edge right there and a little bit of the texture on there. But you can see her watercolor technique. I always loved her watercolor technique. But this is the leafless lens here with all those little dots of color like that, and the mountains in the background. Here's the quote down here, and the buck, large, couple birds up there. It's a simple yet very complex and very accomplished composition right here. But I don't know. I love this type of look here. I always like, excuse me. I always like the watercolor type of look and that kind of free-flowing kind of spirit of watercolors. They always have such great gesture to them. I'm not really good at doing watercolors. I'm very unpracticed at it, so that's kind of, it's a very spontaneous type of technique where I'm a lot more controlled and whatnot. Okay, so this one for me, Lakeside Cove, Rocky Peaks, and a little bit of the cloud cumulus in the background. I mean, it's a lot, but you can't really see it too much because it's stamped out in, it's probably a salvia blue. But this one for me is about depth, okay? And also just showing people how to do trees, instead of stamping out a tree in black or something like that, and then coloring in over it. What you do is you just color the actual stamp, and you get those impressions right here. But you know what? The real spirit of this one for me, I mean, it's something kind of a little bit more subtle, and that's just hitting a stamped image with a little bit of pigment ink, like right up in here, okay? And that gave that cloud right at the base of this highest peak right here some different atmosphere. So it softened it and lightened it up right in there. But don't you think that really changes the spirit of the piece in general? For the most part, everything is really crisp. The clouds in the background are very soft too, but you've really kind of enhanced it by extending that white from the background into the front of this, so it envelops this right here. So suddenly, and I put a little bit down here too, so it suddenly kind of starts to encompass this three-dimensional looking illustration here, but then you really bring that light and mist into it, and that really, I don't know, I think it just changes the spirit of it overall. For one thing, by doing those kind of soft touches like that, you've really expanded on the textural range of the piece, from everything being somewhat crisp to now you have crisp and very soft at the same time. And then while you're doing that, I mean, you're controlling light too, because you're adding more light to it. Man, let me try to get this flap out of the way here. My desk is so full here. Oh my gosh. I need to move some things around that I'm not using too much of at the moment. I kind of leave a lot of my supplies right on top of my desk so I don't have to go get them because I feel that it kind of it lends itself to the creative spirit. Okay, this is Lizzie Giggs right here, The Groves, and love this piece right here. I've gotten a lot of these idea cards before, and if you've been shopping with us for years, you know, you probably would have seen these, but one stamp right, well, two stamps right here, that's from the Scenic Sentiments, and then that's just Maple Grove right there. But look at this formatting around here, how complex it is. You know, you have this oval, then you have that, you know, extra matting around that. This paper, another, yeah, there must be, I don't know how many papers there are, several. But just a really great card. It really just kind of focuses in on that image in here, or the design itself, because it's just one image. But you can see how she did that mist down here with the pigment inks right there. You know, that kind of that hovering mist over the surface, you know, the ground right there. But doesn't that really change things? If you can imagine all of this stamped and just colored in, I mean, it would have looked really good, but then you add that in there, and it really adds some nice atmosphere into the piece. That's what the types of things that photographers love going out and photographing. They get out in the early morning to catch that fog and mist and, you know, kind of the mystery and kind of emotional quality of a given setting, you know. All right, so I've gotten a, you know, pretty good selection of some different people. This is Susan Chen in Taiwan back in 2012, quite some time. That link's, I'm not sure if that link's still active, but look at this right here. Another Lakeside Cove piece right here, you know. Here's the Lakeside Cove here and here. I mean, they look the same, you know, when you took it, you know, take a look at it like that, but what a different setting, though, what you say. And I'm not sure what she kind of splatter painted up here with. I don't think it's something like Dr. Martin's Bleed Proof White because I see it's kind of in blue. So it might be in blue and black, or it might be some bleaching right here almost. But look at that down on the water. Look how beautiful it is. And look at that glow. So kind of a different, see, there's this glow down here and this greenish warm tone. There's a little bit of a warm tone back in there too. I'm not sure what color that is. But then you have those nice transitions up there. So a really you know, it's a very simple composition. What do you have? You have 1, 2, and 3 stamps. You can't see it very much, but there's these trees down here. I think that's the pine row. But it's like 3 stamps, but a very complex kind of color scheme. Simple to do, but when you apply it like that, you have a lot of texture, temperature changes, value changes, and somewhat of a mirrored image, but different enough down here to separate sky from surface. All right, let's see. We have 3 more. Like I said, I didn't get too many of these. I think 100 of each. I'm waiting for a better sale. I don't know. Not sure that's going to happen anymore these days, huh? Okay, let's see. This one is by me. Okay, so Cascading Falls, just a fall scene right here. Done very pastelish. I don't keep things real light too often, but on this one I did right here. But I thought it created a nice spirit. I didn't put too much pigment ink down here, so I don't know. Yeah, I would have these days, so I was probably doing that at the time when I wasn't doing as much of that. Oh, 2005 right there. I don't know, I was using pigment ink for quite some time. Yeah, and actually I can see it right down here. There's just kind of some lighter areas. Unless that's from just kind of wiping this off down here. But anyways, just going in here and, you know, there's just kind of minimal coloring on here with the green. And then the foreground right here has some of the foliage on bare branch right here just to create kind of a different looking foreground texture. I need to do that combination again. Like I said, it's bare branch large and foliage small. So real kind of pastelish, you know. Like I said, I don't do that type of color scheme too often, but or kind of a contrast scheme, you know. I usually make things pretty much, you know, quite a bit darker in the shadows. I probably purposely, you know, kind of didn't do that on that one just to keep things a little bit different. Okay, now, I'm talking about kind of white pigment ink for effect here, but sometimes white pigment ink can save a piece. This is the shagbark hickory right here, stamped, in kind of a darker tone, but I have a lot of different color variations on there. What I do is I take the tree and I color the trunk brown, and then I come in here with some dark green, as dark a green as I can get, and coming across it, it's probably mixing with some of that brown, creating kind of a darker version of green. And then I come in here on, the sides of the tree that are going to be facing this kind of corridor of light, and I kind of lighten it up. But, I didn't probably do too much of that, but, tapped, and then I did the same things with these trees in the background. They were just colored a lighter color. But this white in here really kind of brings everything together. Otherwise, they're kind of, I don't know, there's not as much of a cohesiveness, as when you use this kind of binding type of element. It doesn't have to be white pigment ink or something like that. You can do, like some highlights over it and kind of create kind of a shimmery texture. I typically do both. So down here I can see I use both like a pastel tan down here and these little dots. And there's some yellow down here as well. Pink right in here. But some little highlights on the trees. So I have kind of crisp highlights as well as a very soft one. And that's how you're adding lighting into a scene. You're starting the lighting, though, by just kind of wiping off some of that ink off the stamp and then taking the impression. Then when you come up where you kind of wipe some of it off, it stamps out a lighter version of that color. All right, so anyways, I always like that scene right there. But I remember doing this when it was done quite some time ago. Yeah, I don't have a date on here, but I remember thinking, oh, gosh, that white pigment ink can really save the day sometimes. That's probably about the time, I don't know, I started using that. I don't know, if you use that, if you kind of learn how to use that, and it's real simple to do, just everyone, when they first start doing it, they just add too much. You have to have very little on your applicator to get, very light application of it, and then you just build it up very slowly. It's like, oh, okay, this one right here, by yet another stamper, Darcy Bruno, right here, New York, 2008. But look at this right here, photo stamping. And what is the photo stamping of? Either a lake or something like that, and or ocean or something like that. But there's this kind of thin little island out there or something, or land mass, okay? But then she stamped a lakeside cabin right over the top of it. But look at the illumination right there. That would be very different without that white gel pen in there. And I say gel pen because they didn't have the paint pens back then. Well, they did, but everyone was using gel. But look at this, the highlighting on the trees, and where are the highlights? They're on the side of the tree facing the light, so it's on the left-hand illumination. She has a couple little dots on the right, and that's fine too. This is Flock and Rotter right here, so that's not in the photograph, but it sure looks like it is, doesn't it? But that's just a stamped impression of Flock and Water. I need to use that stamp because this looks really amazing here. But one of the more, it's a pretty simple kind of application of photo stamping, but a really good example on super effective use of the genre or the photograph and whatnot, and imagery. See that blue, that little white in there, creating that light. That would look good as is, but look how much it stands out. But then you take those little shimmery little bits on this side. So see, here it is on this side. Those are really just kind of like little, like little dots of white in there. But then so are these. So it kind of balances things off, Or this could be, gone too, and I think it would look good. But you put that there and it just kind of visually balances the piece, and then you have the birds kind of going, into the distance right there. But not my photo. I don't know where she got that photograph from. That would be a really good one to have access to do some photo stampings on. But you can look on my Flickr account, and there's an album called Clouds or something like that for photo stamping. and those are all free for download, and you can print them out and I don't know, try the technique on your own. So anyways, what do we have here? 7 new postcards, idea cards, to be included with orders until they run out. I don't have too many of these, but I don't know, some good ideas for stamping. Unfortunately, a lot of these ones right here are not in, well, this one is video 173. I didn't do a lot of these, like I said, so I don't have like video examples of them. A lot of them, though, if I really was into the design, if it was one that I did, I kind of redid them in a video lesson, for people to reference. So I don't know, fantastic work here. Thank you all for submitting. If you are one of the ones that did these here, so. I don't know. I don't even know the technique that Susan used on this one right here, but I don't know. I'm dipping in, going way back on some of these cards just because we haven't ordered them in quite some time. So I don't know. Different types of looks, different types of techniques, from the slightly more complex in terms of the number of images used. None of these use too many images, maybe up to 5 or 6 at most. I don't know. Maybe this one right here. Even down to 1, right? Right here. This one's 3 stamps right here, and very clearly, delineated right here, with the 3 stamps, 2 stamps right here, and 1, 2, 3, and then 4 with the quote right there. Okay, so anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks as always for tuning into the Stampscapes channel.